Welcome back to the channel where we talk about only good comics. I'm Brant Fowler, and this is Friday First. This is the series where I talk about brand new number one issues, brand new story arcs, brand new events, character debuts, and the like. This is for books that are coming out on December 6th, 2023. So, without further ado, well, actually, let me say if you celebrated, I hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. And I think I already said that last week, though, so I didn't really need to say that. So let's move on to the comics. First up is Thunderbolts, issue number 1. This is by the same creative team that wrote Captain America, Lansing and Kelly. And this seems to pick up right where this arc in Captain America and Winter Soldier left off, which is with Bucky becoming the what was it, the revolution, I think it was called, part of this whole um, cabal that's running the world and playing games to do it over the past century or whatever, um, or past couple of centuries. I don't know, however long it was, but anyway, uh, that was a really interesting story when it kicked off. Didn't end as strongly as I had hoped, but I'm always down for a Thunderbolts book. Um, the last couple haven't really done it for me, but I'm hoping that this one does. I do like the writers. I do like their take on Bucky and that he's trying to do something different with the character. So, we'll give it a shot, but I'm gonna give this one a potentially good because I think it definitely has potential to be good. Whether it will live up to that potential is yet to be seen. So. Next up, we have Invasive number 1. This is from Oni Press, but it's by Colin Bunn, who, he's known for his horror comics, right? And this one had an interesting concept. It's based on this surgeon that is like top of her class. She's like a genius when it comes to surgical procedures and all that stuff. Her daughter goes missing, and when she returns, her vocal cords are missing, and this starts a whole track of events where all this horrific stuff starts happening, and there's like this secret club of surgeons that go out and murder people and perform surgeries and weird surgeries and stuff. So it's kind of like taking uh, that concept from hell. And kind of expanding that into a whole group of people that are doing these terrible, terrible things. And a great name, Invasive. The logo's nice. If you're a horror fan, especially this kind of horror, I think this one really could speak to you. And so I'm actually, even though this isn't not my preferred genre, uh, just because of the concept, because of the creators involved, because of the imagery here, I'm going to give this one a promisingly good. I think it's more than potential. I think this could be really good. So I don't know. We'll see. Next up is Titans Beast World Waller Rising number 1. This is one of the tie-ins to the Beast World event that's going on right now that just kicked off this week, which I actually enjoyed it. And it was one of those things that was like, okay, this is like a make or break book for me, whether I'm going to continue with Titans at all, because I hadn't been incredibly impressed with the run so far. But this story actually got me very intrigued. I thought it was a pretty solid story, so I'm curious to check out more of this world. Now, it's an Amanda Waller book, which means it's going to involve like her antics and her involvement in this side of things. So it's going to be from a completely different perspective. Um, but it looks like we are going to see more of Dr. Hate, but we're also going to see her uh, teaming up maybe with some interesting characters like Batwing, Vixen, Val Zod, Superman, and Black Manta. And so that's an interesting cast of characters. Obviously, there's a lot of other characters involved in this as well. And we'll see what role ultimately Amanda Waller has to play in all this. But I don't know. It sounds interesting, so I'm going to give this one a potentially good because, like this overall story, I think it does have a lot of potential. So hopefully I'm right. Next is Our Bones Dust, #1. This is from Image Comics, and this is by creator Ben Stenbeck, who worked with Mike Mignola for a long time in the Hellboy universe and all that stuff. And this is his first solo book, and it's coming out from Image. And there was an interview where he said, or like a press release where he had a quote saying something about he wrote the kind of book that he would want to read, that he would want to enjoy. It's kind of being praised for world building and twists and turns and keeping you on your toes and all that kind of stuff. But the concept sounded kind of interesting. It's this character that is both a predator and prey. There's an artificial intelligence involved. There's brutality and blood, and it seems like a very violent dystopian kind of world. And those can really be interesting. So I'm going to give this one a potentially good. The art looked pretty neat to me as well. Something a little bit more subdued, downplayed, but still striking. So yeah, Our Bones Dust, #1, potentially good. Check it out. Another odd one. This one is from Mad Cave, and it's called Skeeters #1, and it kind of sells itself as like a story like Arachnophobia and that kind of genre, Slither, stuff like that, where in this case it's alien-like mosquitoes to kind of take over this small town, and it's kind of got that a little bit, from the description it sounds like it's got that little bit of campiness that those kind of movies have, but also kind of threatening at the same time. So it's that kind of thing, like it puts me in mind of like Critters back in the day, and that kind of thing. So that sounds interesting, at least. So I'm going to give this one a potentially good as well. If those kind of movies are your thing, you might want to check this one out from Mad Cave. This one's here for the YouTube people that like to follow YouTubers who create comics as well. This is actually from Carl, who used to be, I think it was Gamer Boy Carl. I'm not too familiar, but he's from Mr. Beast, and does his own Minecraft videos and stuff like that. But this is his first comic book, and it's coming out from Dark Horse. It's called Time Traveler Tales, and apparently this character bounces back and forth through time. This story takes place where he ends up in the Wild West and is rescuing circus animals, and all kinds of crazy stuff ensues in this all ages comic. So sounds like fun. It definitely could be fun. So we're gonna give this one a potentially good. Don't know till we try it out, right? So yeah, if you're a fan of Carl, go check out his comic, Time Traveler Tales. All right, getting into the holiday season, holiday vibes now with Batman Santa Claus Silent Night #1. This is a 4-part crossover, or I mean, they call it a crossover, miniseries, whatever you want to call it, where Batman is teaming up with a former mentor of his, the one and only Santa Claus, and a not so jolly Saint Nick, as it says in the description, as they go to investigate brutal crimes that are taking place on the days leading up to Christmas. So if that sounds fun to you, Batman teaming up with Santa Claus to investigate some murders, and apparently Santa Claus taught Batman a thing or two, who knows? Check this one out, Batman Santa Claus Silent Night #1. I'm actually going to give this one, surprisingly, a promisingly good, just because it sounds like a fun concept. Sometimes you just like to get in the spirit of things. Sometimes you like something a little bit different. And it also says this is putting Santa Claus in canon DC. I mean, come on. That just sounds fun, right? So there you go. Promisingly good for Batman Santa Claus Silent Night. Go figure. Next is another Titans Beast World book. This is Titans Beast World Tour Metropolis #1. That's a mouthful. But again, I enjoyed Beast World, the first issue of that. So this is kind of focusing on Metropolis, and it's bringing even more characters in here. Power Girl, Flame Bird, Dreamer, Supergirl. All of these characters are involved. I'm assuming the Superman family in general is going to be in this one because it's Metropolis. And this is by a bunch of writers, including Dan Jurgens, Joshua Williamson, and Nicole Maines. So it sounds promising to me. So yeah, I think this one definitely could be a fun one to read. And if my enjoyment of Beast World continues, hopefully this will be part of that continuation. I don't know what I was trying to say there, but that's what came out. So that's what I'm going with. But like the other one, I'm going to give this one a potentially good. Sometimes with these, one-shot side stories, you just don't know if they're going to be like as good as the main thing. So, we'll just have to see, right? So that's Beast World. Man, I keep on wanting to say Beast World Tour, but it's just Titans Beast World Tour Metropolis. There you go. I'm gonna end that one. Okay, as I attempt to regroup here, let's get into the Sentry #1. Who will be the new Sentry? We just got the news about who's going to play the Sentry in the movie coming up. But in this case, the Sentry is dead in the Marvel Universe. In the comic universe, Bob Reynolds, the original Sentry, is dead. But now his power is being distributed into a new Sentry, possibly multiple Sentries. And we don't know who is going to be. We know some potential candidates, as it were. But we have Misty Knight and Jessica Jones involved in this story. Anytime those two characters are around, I'm going to at least check something out. Not familiar with the writer on this one, but I'm really curious about this one, and I think it could be a fun series. So I'm actually going to give this one a promisingly good, and hopefully, it'll be good. And finally, for our main books this week, we have The Amazing Spider-Man issue number 39. And the reason this is on here is because this is the first official issue of Gang War, right? So we had the prelude in Gang War First Strike, which I did a short on. That was a really fun comic, and I really enjoyed it. It got me excited. We do have John Romita Jr. back on the art for this issue, though. But we have a story that really started off strong with First Strike, and so I'm kind of excited to see where it goes. I'm not excited enough to give it a positively good, but I will give it a promisingly good because I really enjoyed First Strike. So we're gonna see if this issue in the main series can keep up that hype that was built up in First Strike, and I really hope it does. I really hope this is a really good story because I need a good, Amazing Spider-Man story, and this needs to be it. So be it. Promisingly good. Before I let you go, I do have a few honorable mentions. The first one here is Hellboy Winter Special, The Yule Cat #1. Hellboy travels to a place where children are disappearing, and this giant beast has been spotted. So it's Hellboy versus the Yule Cat. So if you're a Hellboy fan, you like these specials, go check this one out. Next, we have a special from R.L. Stine, Stuff of Nightmares, Sleigh Ride #1. The Nightmare Keeper for a Demented Saint Nick story, one who decks the halls with holiday horror. So again, another holiday horror story. Those seem to be plentiful this year. There's a new movie coming out with Joel Kinnaman called I think it's called Silent Night, where he gets shot through the neck and can't speak anymore and takes vengeance out on what happened. It's basically a Punisher story with a dude that can't talk anymore. So a lot of gory horror infused Christmas stories this year for some reason. Also, I don't know. It just sounded fun and interesting always when you're kind of twisting genres and stuff like that. So we've seen plenty of bad Santa stories before, but this one is by R.L. Stine from Goosebumps fame. So check that out if you're an R.L. Stine fan. And finally, of course, I've got to give some Archie love here with Archie Christmas Spectacular #1 2023, a brand new story called Christmas Chaos. In this one, and this is for all you all ages fans or just classic Archie fans like myself that kind of grew up on that. But there are bizarro versions of Jingles and Sugar Plum named Jangles and Sour Plum, and they're having to take on a bizarro version of Santa Claus called Krampus. So that just sounds like fun, right? So if you want something a little lighthearted, or if you want something lighthearted for your kids to read, check out Archie Christmas Spectacular. And that is your last honorable mention for this week. And that's also going to do it for this episode of Friday First. I hope you enjoyed it. Please let me know if you did in the comments below, and let me know which new number ones, new stories, new character debuts you're looking forward to coming out next week. I'd love to hear it. And let me know what you thought about this show. And you can do that also by giving it a thumbs up, because that really does help, and hitting that subscribe and notification bell so you don't miss any of these or any of the other content on the channel. You can also follow me across social media at Only Good Comics. And of course, you can type in onlygoodcomics.com to take you right back to this YouTube channel so we can talk about more Only Good Comics. Yeah, something like that. Until then, take care, have a great weekend, and I'll see you next time. Bye. And I left the studio without ending the recording, and it was just dead air live. That's great. Blooper reel.